discovered. The cleaning lady's amazing secret notes transform Millionaire's life in just 30 days. In the sleepy suburb of Willow Creek, something extraordinary was happening. Lisa, a dedicated widow in her late 30s, spent her days scrubbing floors and dusting the opulent homes of the wealthy, while they basked in luxuries she could only dream of. It wasn't the chandeliers that caught her eye, it was the fleeting moments of gratitude she encountered amid her struggles. Each evening, after tucking her 2 children into bed, she would sit at the kitchen table, scribbling reflections in her worn notebook. These weren't just notes. They were heartbeats of hope, love, and small joys, waiting to inspire someone. One day, fate led her to Jack, a self-made millionaire with a penthouse brimming with gadgets and riches. When Lisa first stepped into his lavish world, gleaming marble, tech marvels, it felt alien. Yet every time they exchanged pleasantries, a whisper of connection grew. He was no mere millionaire. Behind the polished exterior, Jack battled the gnawing loneliness that his success had brought him. What's the secret to happiness? He asked one afternoon, half laughing, as she scrubbed a stubborn stain. Lisa paused, her heart racing. You find it in the little moments, like a child's laughter or a shared meal. Her words floated between them. Jack felt them pierce his guarded soul. He couldn't help but glimpse the world through her eyes. As days turned into weeks, their conversations deepened. Somehow, Lisa's notes found their way into Jack's hands. He marveled at her thoughts, each page filled with raw emotion. True success isn't the bank account, but the love you share, she had written, and Jack began to question his own life choices. These simple insights sparked a revolution within him. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just as Jack decided to embrace community spirit, whispers of disapproval erupted around him. Friends critiqued his friendship with Lisa, a cleaning lady. I thought you were better than that. Isolation smothered him again, threatening to silence the budding connections he craved. Lisa's heart ached for Jack. She knew how prejudice cut deep. One evening, as she helped a struggling neighbor with groceries, an idea blossomed in Jack's mind. He would host a charity event, bridging the gap between their worlds. Their hearts raced with excitement at the possibility. But would the community accept a billionaire supporting his cleaning lady's neighbor? As the event drew closer, anticipation hung in the air, mingling with doubt. Would the crowd see past class and prejudice? Will Jack finally step into the sunlight and remind everyone what community means? The stage was set, and as the day approached, one undeniable question lingered. Could love and resilience break down the walls that separated them? The night before the big event, Jack stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie, a deep breath quivering in his chest. He could see the reflection of his penthouse shining, immaculate, but behind the luxury, a tight knot of nerves twisted in his stomach. Would people understand? Could anyone imagine the connection that had blossomed between him and Lisa? He turned to his phone, glancing at a picture of Lisa that he had snapped during one of their spontaneous conversations in the park. Her laughter seemed to jump right out at him, chopping the tension in the air. Jack couldn't shake the thought. This event was about more than charity. It was about breaking down barriers. It was about making space for love in a world obsessed with appearances. Meanwhile, Lisa sat at her kitchen table, the glow of a single lamp illuminating her worn notebook. The pages were filled with her musings, sweet reminders of the joy in everyday life, and hopes that seemed to rise like steam from a hot cup of coffee. She glanced at her children sleeping softly in their beds, and her heart ached with the desire to show them a wider world, a world where kindness trumped wealth. She believed wholeheartedly in what Jack had proposed. But doubt crept in like a shadow. What if the event failed? What if the community scoffed at the idea of a millionaire mingling with people like her? Yet, Deep down, she felt a flicker of hope. They had both come so far in just a few weeks. What if this was the moment to spark a greater change? As dawn broke, Jack and Lisa arrived at the community center, the air buzzing with excitement. Colorful streamers fluttered in the gentle breeze, and tables were laden with homemade goods from the neighborhood. The atmosphere was warm, but an undercurrent of skepticism still clung to the air as familiar faces eyed the millionaire with judgment. Jack took a deep breath. He stepped onto the small stage, his heart racing. "Thank you all for coming," he said, his voice steady but his hands trembling. "I know many of you don't understand why I'm here. I could just keep my distance, enjoying my success. But I realized I've missed something precious in life: connection. I didn't find it in money or things, but through conversations with a woman who cleans my house." The crowd murmured, and Jack pressed on. "Lisa has shared wisdom with me that transcends wealth. It's reminded me that we are all neighbors, not strangers bound by income or status." In the corner, Lisa watched, her heart swelling with pride and dread. She could almost feel the weight of their shared dreams lifting her spirit higher. As Jack continued, she noticed some of the familiar faces softening. Curiosity sparked in their eyes, and she dared to hope. But just as Jack was about to unveil the main initiative of the event, a scholarship fund for local youth, an unexpected figure pushed through the crowd. It was a man from Jack's past, someone who had always viewed success as a competition. The tension shifted like a tightening string, ready to snap. "Are you really going to do this?" the man shouted, his voice slicing through the chatter. "You think we should be giving money to everyone, just because they work hard?" Lisa felt a chill race down her spine. Jack turned, determination etched on his face, but Lisa could sense his uncertainty. Would he let this moment slip away? Both their fates hung in balance, and the crowd held its breath. What move would Jack make next to defend what they had built together? Would he rise to the challenge and protect the dreams of others against the weight of prejudice? Jack's heart raced as he locked eyes with the man from his past. The crowd's murmurs faded into an echoes of silence, amplified by the sudden tension. A mix of anger and disbelief coursed through him, but beneath it all, he felt a flicker of vulnerability. This wasn't just a public speech anymore. It felt like a duel. "You don't get it, do you?" Jack said, his voice dropping, but still steady. "We're not giving away money to people just because they breath. It's about opportunity. It's about hope. It's about lifting each other up." He took a step forward, challenging the man who had questioned him, and the crowd stirred like a living being. Some faces lit with surprise, while others remained skeptical, waiting. Jack saw Lisa inch forward, her eyes wide, a silent plea for him to keep going, to not let this moment collapse under doubt. "This community, these people," he gestured to the crowd, "they work hard every single day. They have dreams just like I did when I was a kid. They deserve a chance." His voice was gaining momentum, the passion pouring out with each word. "It's time we stop judging each other by what's in our pockets and start recognizing the value in one another." The man scoffed, eyes narrowed, still not convinced, but Jack could see cracks forming. He glanced at Lisa, and for an electrifying moment, their connection brightened the space between them. He thought of their conversations, how they had peeled back layers of each other's lives, revealing raw truths and vulnerabilities. He knew he had to share that journey. "I was a millionaire lost in a world of possession, surrounded by glass and glamour. But it was Lisa's words that brought me here. Her notes, her thoughts, they showed me the beauty in simplicity." A ripple of murmurs followed, the crowd shifting toward intrigue. Anyone can achieve financial success, but real wealth comes from compassion. It's about how we come together, how we create paths for others. Jack paused, his heart pounding against his ribs. This scholarship fund isn't just about education. It's about transforming lives, creating leaders who will push boundaries. There was a silence, thick with anticipation, and then someone clapped. It was a tentative sound, but it spread like wildfire, igniting a wave of support throughout the room. As more people joined in, even Lisa felt her heart lift, the warmth of hope spreading through her like sunlight breaking over the horizon. The challenge had cracked the wall, and now Jack felt free. He was no longer merely a millionaire speaking down to a crowd. He was one of them, a neighbor, a friend fighting for a common dream. When the clapping subsided, the man's face betrayed confusion. "You really believe that?" he asked, almost in disbelief. With newfound confidence in his voice, Jack replied, "Absolutely. This community holds so much potential, but we need to invest in each other. If you can't see that, then maybe you're the one who needs to change." As he stepped back, the crowd erupted in applause again, and Jack's spirit soared. The warmth and energy filled the room, and among the sea of familiar faces, he scanned for Lisa. She was beaming, a bright light in a world once clouded by doubt. "Now let us talk about how we can make a difference," he continued, grabbing the mic again, ready to redefine what success truly meant. But just as he began to outline the scholarship program, the man from his past took a deep breath. Something shifted in his expression. Was it contemplation? Would he challenge Jack again? Or would he finally understand the message of unity? Everyone waited with bated breath as the scene hung in delicate balance. Could Jack's sense of community truly bridge an unyielding divide? Jack could feel the crowd holding its breath. The air was thick with anticipation, a mixture of hope and fear. All eyes were on the man from his past, the man who had always been a symbol of everything Jack was trying to overcome. Would he stand firm in his conviction? Or would he let the power of Jack's words resonate within him? The man shifted, his expression morphing as if a battle raged inside. Jack held onto that moment, letting the energy swirl like a tornado around him. He was on edge, desperate for a breakthrough. Then, with a deep sigh, the man straightened, his voice suddenly louder, almost hoarse. He hesitated, stumbling over the courage it required to face the truth. "I spent years in a world of perks and privilege. I didn't think I could ever be wrong. But maybe I've been blind." Gasps erupted from the audience. Jack felt a rush of elation mingled with disbelief. This wasn't just a confession. It was the kind of moment that could change everything. "I see the pain, the struggle." The man continued, his voice steadying. "I've lost touch with what truly matters. Opportunity should be for everyone, not just a select few. If I'm honest," he paused, looking directly at Jack, "I think I need to start from scratch. I want to help." A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd again, but this time they were filled with encouragement. Jack felt Lisa's hand grip his tightly, her support electrifying him. They were together in this pivotal moment, both in shock and awe. "Maybe we can do this together," Jack offered, stepping closer to the man, the tension between them morphing into something resembling alliance. "We can use your resources and my vision to truly uplift this community." The man nodded slowly, his eyes meeting Jack's with newfound respect. "Let us create a program that not only offers financial aid, but mentorship and connection. We can bridge that gap." "Yes." Jack's heart soared. "Let us do this. Let us build leaders, not just take from the community." At that moment, the crowd erupted into cheers, their voices merging into a chorus of hope. Jack could feel his heart swell. It was as if the weight he had carried for so long was finally lifting. This wasn't just a victory for him, but for all those who had believed in a better future. Lisa stepped forward, her voice rising above the rest. "Let us set a date for a community meeting. We need everyone involved." The man looked around, soaking in the overwhelming support. "Let us make it happen," he said, his demeanor softened by the palpable energy of the crowd. "Let us not just talk. Let us act." As Jack looked around, faces bright with possibility, he felt a surge of gratitude. Maybe this was the start of something incredible. He could almost smell the change in the air, thick and sweet like summer rain. But just as a wave of victory washed over them, a sharp voice pierced through the celebration. "Hold on. What does this really mean for your future, Jack? What about the business you built?" The crowd quieted, confusion settling in again like fog. Jack turned to see one of his former investors, arms crossed, eyes narrowed in skepticism. "Do you really think you can just walk away from it all? Find yourself? What about profits?" Jack felt his heart drop momentarily. The unexpected confrontation shattered the joy, leaving him at a crossroads. Would he go back to the world of profits and numbers or dive deeper into the uncharted waters of this new opportunity? All eyes were back on him, and the weight of their expectations sent a shiver down his spine. He had been on the precipice of something transformative, but doubt now threatened to pull him back. Was he ready to let go of the old Jack, the business mogul? The answer loomed before him like a cliff edge. Would he leap into the unknown, or retreat back to the comfort of his past? Jack's mind raced, thoughts colliding like a storm inside him. The faces in the crowd began to blur, their excitement fading into a dull hum. His former investor's challenge hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. Profits, business, power, everything he had built seemed to tower over him like a shadow, whispering doubts that clawed at his resolve. He looked at Lisa, her eyes wide with expectancy. She believed in him. Did he still believe in himself? For a moment, he felt like that scared boy he once was, grappling with an ever-looming sense of inadequacy. The man from his past was right. Finding yourself wasn't supposed to be easy. Jack, the investor, continued, voice cutting through the anxiety. You think this is about helping people? There's a reason you got to where you are. You followed the money, and that's not a bad thing. But turning your back on it? Think about the consequences. Jack clenched his fists. Consequences? He had faced those for years, but this felt different. This was about changing lives, maybe even saving his own while he was at it. I know the risks, Jack finally said, his voice steady and low, gaining strength. But living only for profit? That's not what I want anymore. I'm ready for something greater. Murmurs flowed again through the crowd. Skepticism mixed with hope, both very real. The man's expression softened slightly, but he pressed on. But what does that look like for your future? You could lose everything you've worked for. Maybe, Jack replied. But sometimes what's lost leads us to what we really need. Building wealth without purpose. It's empty. A beat passed, and for a moment, silence hung like fog. Then the crowd stirred again, voices rising, but Jack cut through it. This is about rewriting the narrative. It's not just about me, it's about us. Everyone deserves a chance. We can make a real difference. Lisa beamed at him, her light faith in him anchoring his resolve. She stepped forward. If we build this together, we create a future for everyone. Jobs, education, hope. We can rewrite the rules. Hope, Jack echoed, tasting the word like a sweet promise. He knew, deep down, this was more than just a dream. They could spark something incredible. But the investor wasn't done yet. And if it fails? He challenged again, voices tumbling over one another in the crowd. You'll have given up everything for a gamble. I'm willing to take that gamble, Jack declared louder, drawing energy from the crowd. I don't want to chase money anymore. I want to inspire others to rise up. Jack felt the tide beginning to shift, the crowd's energy becoming electric once more. Someone shouted out. Yeah, another voice chimed in. Let us do this. Jack could now see the faces before him transform, shifting from doubt to determination. People leaned in, hope igniting like fireworks in their eyes. Something real was happening. As the cheers grew louder, he felt a surprising ease settle over him, washing away the fear. It wasn't about leaving behind the past. It was about embracing a future filled with purpose and passion. Still, in the back of his mind, the investor's skepticism clung, urging him to reconsider. But he pushed it aside, letting the sound of the crowd fill him. This was a pivotal moment. Then let us plan that meeting, Jack said finally, raising his voice above the clamor of support. Let's invite everyone to share their ideas. We're all in this together. The crowd erupted, and in that moment, Jack felt the warmth of their hope, their undeniable belief in what could be. Excitement danced along his skin as the scene unfolded and the energy surged. Then, through the din, another voice echoed louder than the rest. And when it all fails, you'll have nothing left to show for it. Jack, just an empty promise. Jack froze, the cheers fading into a stunned silence as Jack turned. He was faced with the glaring skepticism he hoped to bury. Who was behind the voice? Confusion gripped him. Were they really willing to tear apart the new beginning before him? He felt the collective breath of the crowd again, waiting for him to respond. Would they step back from hope? Or would they rally? Their eyes were a mirror, reflecting his choices back to him. And suddenly he realized it wasn't just his future at stake. His heart pounded. Based on his next words, everything could change. Would he have the courage to leap into the unknown? Or would he let fear snatch hope away from them all? Jack took a deep breath. The moment of truth was right before him. What would he say? Jack squared his shoulders, ready to face the voice that had cut through the thrill of the crowd. He scanned the sea of faces but couldn't locate the source. Still, he could feel the weight of skepticism hanging in the air like a damp fog, threatening to dampen the sparks of hope ignited moments before. The crowd's collective breath felt heavy, filled with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. It's easy to criticize change, Jack finally replied, his voice rising with conviction. It's easy to sit on the sidelines and throw stones. But it takes guts to step up and strive for something better. I'm not afraid of losing everything because if we're not risking for something meaningful, what's the point? A ripple of murmurs spread through the audience, some conflicted, others nodding in agreement. Lisa moved close, her eyes urging him on, fueling the determination bubbling inside him. Look, Jack said, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. I've had my share of successes and failures. You all have too. But what keeps us going, what brings us together, is the courage to confront our fears. If we don't take that chance, we'll always be stuck wondering what if. You still Haven T answered the question. The voice shot back, a different man now, challenging. What if it all goes wrong? What then? Jack swallowed. The truth clenched at him, threatening to unfurl the neatly woven tapestry of hope just moments before. Yet standing there, under the weight of their scrutiny, he began to feel lighter. What happens if we fail? He echoed, deliberate pause. If we do, we'll learn. That's what life is about, growing from our mistakes. Every failure is one step closer to success. Success, huh? Another voice piped up, a woman this time. What about the jobs? The people who rely on you? They'll suffer if it crumbles. Then let us work together to build something that won't crumble. Jack shouted, encouraged by their passion. I'm done building castles in the air. I want a foundation strong enough to stand the test of time. Jack could feel his heart racing again, the flood of adrenaline coursing through. The crowd started to respond, a wave of chatter flowing back and forth, their tension shifting. Then show us, shouted someone from the back, their voice cutting through the uncertainty. Led by example, he met Lisa's gaze, and in that moment of connection, something solidified between them, a partnership beyond anything he had imagined. She stepped up beside him, her spirit shining bright. Yes, let us not just talk about it, she added, her voice steady and full of energy. Let us write a plan. Let us create something new together. A community project that everyone can be a part of. Jack nodded vigorously, feeling embers of energized resolution rekindling within. Community project. We can brainstorm ideas here and now. Living in fear of failure will hold us back. Let us shift that energy to inspire action. Everyone hesitated, their eyes darting around, weighing the implications of his words. Jack felt a crackle of impatience. He knew fear could either bind them or propel them forward. Let us not forget, the only wasted opportunity is the one we don't seize, he said, letting emotion seep into his voice. We owe it to ourselves and to each other to give this our all. Let us tap into that potential we have. I'm ready to stand with you. Are you ready to stand with me? The crowd shifted uncomfortably, and for a moment, it felt as if time paused. Jack's heart raced. Would they join him, or would the voices of doubt drown out the growing chorus of hope? Suddenly, a loud cheer erupted, igniting like fireworks in the night sky, escalating through the crowd. Yes, let us do this. The energy shifted. Jack felt the momentum building as more voices joined in. It was a crescendo of support, of belief. He couldn't help but grin, heart swelling. Maybe, just maybe, they could do this together. But amidst the cheers, the doubt still lingered. Would he truly be able to lead them all toward that brighter future? And what would happen when the inevitable obstacles came crashing down? Jack's breath hitched. The stakes were higher than ever, and it all hinged on how they would navigate the days ahead. Would they embrace the unknown together and rise? As the cheers subsided, Jack felt the pulse of a new beginning running through him. But in the back of his mind, the question loomed larger than ever. Would courage carry them through, or would their dreams slip away like grains of sand? Jack stood on that stage, surrounded by a sea of faces infused with renewed energy, but the air still crackled with a charged tension. The cheers had faded, yet the possibility of failure lurked like a shadow in the corners of his mind. He needed to act quickly, to harness this momentum before it flickered out. "Let us come together right here, right now," he called, his voice ringing out with conviction. "I want your ideas, your passions. What are we really aiming for?" The crowd murmured, uncertain yet intrigued. He could see more eyes turning toward him, searching for direction. Lisa stepped forward, her voice cutting through the buzz. "What about creating a community center? A place where everyone can gather, learn, and grow? We could hold workshops, offer classes, even support local artists." The crowd began to exchange ideas, their apprehension washing away like ink in water. Jack felt the pulse of their collective hope, and it was infectious. Rather than rehearsed speeches, they were sharing dreams. "Yes," he shouted. "Let us write those dreams down. Let us not let a single idea slip away." With paper and pens produced from various pockets, they began jotting down thoughts. Jack circulated, leaning over shoulders to read suggestions that sparkled with potential. A mentorship program here, community garden there. He could see artists sketching out visions, while a small group mapped out the logistics of hosting markets for local vendors. As new ideas blossomed, Jack felt the initial ripples of doubt giving way to a swell of excitement. Yet, as the chatter grew into a comforting hum, he noticed one face in the crowd, a man with disheveled hair and a furrowed brow. His lips were pursed, arms crossed snugly over his chest. Jack's heart sank. "This is all great," the man interjected. "But who's going to fund it? We need money, and no one's stepping up." The words struck like a chilling breeze, freezing the momentary warmth of camaraderie. Jack took a deep breath. "You're right. We need resources and commitment. But think about why we're here. We're creating something we believe in. If we show that passion, the funds will follow. People want to invest in real change. Starts here with us." The crowd shifted, some nodding, others still reflecting. Lisa stepped closer, injecting renewed vigor into the moment. "Let us start a fundraiser. Just think of the skills in this crowd: bake sales, craft fairs, whatever it takes. Everyone can contribute." Excitement about the fundraiser began to pick up momentum, but Jack felt a twinge of unease. Fundraising was one thing, but what if the money didn't come? What if the community center turned into just another unfinished dream? A chorus of voices began discussing ways to engage local businesses, boosting their confidence. He watched as some of the tension in the crowd melted away. Jack felt a spark of hope. Could it become a sanctuary for everyone like he envisioned? With resolve, he shouted, "Then let us also schedule a meeting next week. We'll bring these ideas together, incorporate feedback, and begin planning. This can be our beginning." The crowd erupted again, laughter and support sparking like electrical currents. But as the energy surged, the cold voice of doubt returned to whisper, nagging at the back of his mind. Could he really lead them forward? Beyond the excitement, adversity still loomed, ready to challenge this dream. Jack smiled, pushed through the noise that threatened to drown out his own thoughts. "Let us keep the momentum going. Remember, together we can overcome any obstacle." As they cheered once more and began spreading out, embracing the unfamiliar feeling of unity, he couldn't help but wonder, what would come next? Would their dedication endure when the path grew hard, or would they unravel? The crowd milled around enthusiastically, scribbling down every idea, every hope for the future. Yet, the weight of uncertainty lingered. a constant reminder that every new chapter came with risks. How would they handle the trials ahead when the initial excitement faded? Would they stand united, or drift apart in the storm of reality? Jack spent the next few days in a whirlwind of activity, fueled by adrenaline and hope. The meeting he had called was scheduled for next Thursday, and he knew he had to maximize this time. Each idea scribbled on paper echoed in his mind, buzzing like a hive. The vision of the community center began to mold itself into something almost tangible, yet the nagging doubt still clung to him. He got together with Lisa and a few other volunteers. "We need to get organized," he said, pacing back and forth in the cramped coffee shop where they met. "Let us create subcommittees for fundraising, planning, and outreach." Lisa nodded, her eyes bright. "We can set up a website to keep everyone informed. 2. Let us show them we mean business." As they brainstormed, the reality of their ambitious goal seemed to solidify, but Jack still felt the weight of uncertainty. He glanced around and caught the eye of a barista who had just delivered their drinks. She gave him a small smile, but the moment didn't lift his spirits as it should have. "Jack?" Someone interrupted his thoughts. It was Sam, one of their new volunteers. "Can we do this? I mean, really? What if we don't raise enough money?" Jack took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. "That's the risk we take, but remember why we're doing this. It's about more than just money. It's about community. If we show them our passion, the money will come." They nodded, their expressions reflecting both doubt and determination. The next days were spent devising a detailed plan. They reached out to local businesses and pitched their community center vision like a sales deck. Excitement bubbled on social media as they launched their first fundraiser, a neighborhood talent show. "Think of all the talent we have," Lisa enthused as they sat on the floor of her living room, surrounded by flyers and stacks of brochures. "Yeah," Jack replied, his confidence building. "It's not just about money. It's about building connections. Our friends, our neighbors, they want to be part of this." The day of the talent show arrived faster than he expected. Jack was a bundle of nerves as he stood in front of the makeshift stage, his heart pounding with each passing minute. The community hall was packed. Families filled every chair, a sea of anticipation and friendly faces. "Welcome, everyone," he called, attempting to bring enthusiasm to his voice. "Tonight, we celebrate not just talent but togetherness. All proceeds go toward our community center." Cheers erupted from the crowd. Every performance was met with applause, laughter, and shouts of encouragement. The atmosphere was electric. For the first time since they began, Jack felt a sense of belonging wash over him, even with the uncertainty still lurking in the background. But as the evening wore on, doubt began to creep back. What if the donations weren't enough? What if this was just a fleeting moment? The thought made his stomach turn. Finally, the evening wrapped up with a final act, a local dance troupe. They moved with such grace and passion, bringing the room together once more. Jack watched, transfixed, as they performed. The energy in the room ebbed and flowed, invigorating everyone present. The head of the troupe finished and stepped off stage, breathless and smiling. "Let us support our community. Everyone, we can turn dreams into reality." Jack's heart raced. Did he really believe that? As the event concluded, the moment came to tally the donations. Jack felt the room buzzing, everyone hoping, waiting. They gathered, pie charts and graphs running through their minds as the numbers were calculated. When the final amount was announced, cheers erupted. Jack's heart soared, and yet he could not shake the feeling that they were only at the beginning. What would happen with this newfound momentum? Jack took a deep, shaky breath. "This is just the start," he declared, his voice stronger than before. "We have a long road ahead. Are you with me?" The crowd roared with enthusiasm. But as they celebrated, Jack caught sight of the worried man from the first meeting, standing silently at the back, still lost in thought. A haunting question echoed through Jack's mind: would this excitement endure the test of reality? Would they remain united when challenges inevitably surfaced? With the night's triumph still lingering, one thought crystallized. Accessing the community's full potential would require more than just dreams. Jack's resolve strengthened, but he couldn't shake the feeling that greater challenges awaited them. As they clapped each other on the back, a new sense grew both electrifying and daunting. He couldn't help but wonder how far their unity would take them and what storms they might have to weather together. Would this be their moment of real transformation? The days following the talent show were a blur of excitement and hustle. Jack could hardly sleep, his mind spiraling with ideas. He found himself drawing early morning sketches of the proposed community center, infusing them with the vibrant energy that had sparked that night. Each stroke on paper filled him with a renewed sense of purpose. Lisa and the rest of the team were fired up, too. Their small downtown community had come together in a way Jack hadn't expected. Encouragement flowed through social media platforms like wildfire. Posts filled with photos from the event, videos of performances, and heartfelt messages from neighbors. "What a night! Let us keep this momentum going," they shouted, and Jack felt the pulse of their community resonating with his own heart. But amidst the thrill of victory, doubt still curled at the edges of Jack's mind. Over the phone, he spoke with local businesses, seeking their support. As he listened to hesitant replies, a familiar fear crept back in what if they all said no? "Jack," Lisa's voice startled him. He turned to find her bursting into the makeshift office they had created in his living room. "You won't believe this. We got an email from a local charity. They want to match our fundraising efforts up to a certain amount if we can raise $1,000 more." His heart jumped. "Really? Yeah. If we hit that goal, we can double our funds. This is amazing." They both stared at one another, excitement reflecting in their eyes. Suddenly, the pressure of fundraising felt lighter, charged with energy. "Let us set up another event," Jack exclaimed. "A bake sale, or a car wash. Something that gets people together again." As they planned, tugging at memories of their favorite childhood events, Jack's vision sharpened. "Let us combine it with a community picnic. Games, food, live music. We'll make it a celebration." Days passed and the volunteers rallied behind Jack and Lisa, working tirelessly to make the upcoming event a success. As they painted signs and baked treats, laughter filled the air. The scent of fresh cookies wafted through Jack's home, a reminder of the sweet moments that bonded them. But deep down, Jack wrestled with the looming challenges. The nagging voice whispered fears of failure like an ominous storm cloud. He found himself staring out of his living room window, reflecting on how far they had come. Would all their hard work be enough? Then he remembered the worried man from the talent show, how he stood motionless in the back. A sinking feeling filled his stomach again. "I need to talk to him," Jack decided. Maybe the man held something valuable that could help. The day before the community picnic, Jack mustered the courage to seek out the man. He learned his name was Thomas, a longtime resident of the neighborhood who had once been involved in similar community efforts. Thomas was skeptical but willing to meet. Jack's heart raced when he considered what wisdom Thomas might offer, yet the fear of rejection echoed. The sun hung low when they finally met at a quiet park bench. Jack felt the weight of uncertainty returning, but he was determined. "Thank you for meeting me. I really want to hear your thoughts on our community center project," he said, voice steady but vulnerable. Thomas looked at him, his expression unreadable, but his eyes held a flicker of something curiosity. "Perhaps. You really think you can pull this off? With the help of all these volunteers?" Jack swallowed hard. "I believe we can. We're passionate. We want this for our community, for everyone who wants a place to gather." "What happens when real problems arise?" Thomas countered. "What's your plan when you face roadblocks? Passion doesn't always pay the bills." Jack felt his chest tighten. Balloons of anxiety swirled in his stomach. "I don't know. But we're willing to fight for it." The air crackled with tension. Would Thomas see their potential? Would he decide to share his insight? Or would the conversation dwindle into defeat before it even began? The answer hung uncertainly in the space between them, waiting to break free. With the picnic on the horizon, Jack realized the stakes had never been higher and one conversation could change everything. The day of the community picnic dawned bright and warm, a beautiful backdrop for what Jack and Lisa hoped would be a turning point. Colorful banners fluttered in the breeze, The aroma of grilled burgers and fresh popcorn wafted through the air, and laughter rang like music. Jack stood at the entrance, greeting friends and neighbors with a smile that stretched ear to ear. The energy was infectious, yet a shadow hovered at the back of his mind. The conversation with Thomas still unsettled him. He had shared his doubts, challenging Jack to think beyond the initial spark of passion. Just remember, Thomas had said, it's going to take more than enthusiasm to sustain this. Have a backup plan in case it all falls apart. But today, standing amidst the bustling crowd, Jack felt hopeful. Children were racing around, gleeful laughter mingling with the live music echoing throughout the park. Lisa was organizing games, her vibrant spirit infectious. Jack, she called out, waving him over. Look at the turnout. This is incredible. His heart swelled at the sight of neighbors he hadn't seen in ages, all coming together, united for a shared vision. Yet he couldn't shake off the doubt gnawing at him. Would this energy last? Would their efforts create a lasting impact? As they moved through the crowd, Jack spotted Thomas standing by the food stalls, arms crossed, his face serious amidst the laughter. A flicker of anxiety danced through Jack, but he steeled himself. Today was about unity and hope, and he wanted Thomas to feel that too. Hey Thomas, Jack called, approaching him with a tentative smile. Glad you could make it. Thomas barely smiled back, his gaze scanning the scene. Looks nice, he said, though his tone was skeptical. But you know this one tea fix everything, right? Feeling the air thicken with tension, Jack lowered his voice. I know it's just one step, but it's a start. We need each other, and all these people are willing to work hard for something bigger. The man regarded Jack, arms still crossed. People come and go, Jack. What happens when they lose interest? When the excitement fades? Jack's heart raced, but he held his ground. If we create a space that matters, they won't just walk away. The community center means connection. Imagine the opportunities it could provide: jobs, education, support. As Jack spoke, he caught sight of Lisa organizing a group of kids for a three-legged race. Laughter erupted, echoing like music against the backdrop of their dreams. There was something magic about the way everyone was coming together. See those kids? He continued, gesturing toward the laughter. They deserve a place to learn and grow, not just for today, but for their future. If we can inspire just one child, we've made a difference. Thomas watched the children, and Jack could see the contemplation on his face. It's a nice thought, he said, his expression softening ever so slightly. But it still relies on commitment and resources. You'll need a plan for sustainability. Jack nodded, a fire igniting within him. That's why we're here today, to rally support. Let us gather ideas and get everyone involved. We could hold weekly gatherings, involve more local businesses, share responsibilities. This is just the beginning of what we can achieve together. Thomas remained quiet, but Jack sensed a shift. The man was beginning to see the potential that lay scattered in front of them like pieces of a puzzle. As the day rolled on, Jack felt the pulse of possibility flowing through him, the doubts fading with every cheer of enthusiasm. Each cheer, each smile, added layers of hope to their foundation. They organized a fundraising raffle, and the tickets sold swiftly. Jack and Lisa worked side by side, the warmth of their camaraderie illuminating their efforts. When they finally announced how much they had raised, the crowd erupted in joy. Jack stood, heart hammering in his chest, the energy soaring. This is just a taste of what we can do. Let us expand on this. Let us make dreams a reality. The applause washed over him, filling the cracks of uncertainty that had begun to form in his heart. As people began to mingle, Thomas approached Jack. All right, he said, a note of resolve in his tone. Let us talk about sustainability. If you can keep this momentum going, I'll help. Jack's heart soared. Really? Yeah, Thomas replied, a hint of a smile breaking through his serious demeanor. If you're committed, I'll share what I know: resources, contacts, strategies. But you'll have to earn the trust of this community. Trust is crucible. Without it, everything crumbles. Absolutely, and I'll do whatever it takes. Jack felt the warmth of determination settle into his bones. an inspiring sense of purpose igniting once more. As the sun began to set, casting golden rays across the park, Jack scanned the scene, families laughing, bonds forming, dreams floating through the air like colorful balloons. He knew this was just the beginning of a long journey ahead, but he believed in the power of community, trust, and hope. Together, they would build something truly special, a sanctuary that would uplift everyone, including Jack himself. After all, true wealth was not in material possessions but in the love and connection he discovered. As they packed up at the end of the day, Jack gathered the volunteers, including Thomas. "Thank you all for your hard work. This is just the start of something amazing. Let us meet again next week. New ideas, new plans. Together we find our way." He felt the power surge through him, overwhelming and bright. The future stretched ahead, filled with both challenges and excitement. And as the park slowly emptied, Jack felt lightened, his heart churning with hope. They were on the pathway to transformation together. Now was the moment to act. If you want to continue seeing these incredible stories, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. Please leave a like now. It fuels the algorithm to keep bringing you these powerful narratives. And don't forget to comment below your feelings about this transformation. Your voice matters. Lastly, share this amazing video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this change. Let us spread the inspiration together because true fans of this journey know how vital support is in making these stories come alive.